I had this idea of calling this segment, If No Deportations, Then What? I want to remind you all the ways in which the American left, in addition to blocking deportations, what they have been doing to impact the American public's view about deportations, about the border, and about what immigration laws, if any, should exist. But I'm going to start first with a clip. This is a clip of a CNN panel, so you know you're in trouble. CNN panel, Andrew Gillum, who's the only person in the panel I'm going to play as a short clip of his. The question was essentially about the ICE raids upcoming, where they are removing people from their homes and sending them out of the country, deporting them because they have no right to be here. I want you to hear the messaging from Andrew Gillum.
Well, he's not running to the right. I mean, this president, through these actions, is literally terrorizing people. I said an extra prayer this morning for the mother and the child and the family who are right now crunched in a bathroom, or they're terrified of going to the door, or they couldn't go to church this morning because they are terrified of what will happen if they exited the door. You got kids who are terrified that they may come home and their parents won't be there. These are human lives, and there is nothing about this that is a strategy other than an electoral one. This president has decided that the way to victory is to demonize black and brown people, in this case brown people, and people who speak a different language or maybe from a different country of origin. We're talking about millions of people here, and there is, in my opinion, only one effect here, and that is to terrify his base against folks who look like the folks that they showed in cages the other day. My biggest fear, quite frankly, is the effect that this is going to have, the very traumatizing effect that this is going to have for people of color all across the country, all for a political stunt.
Folks, that is so obnoxiously outrageous, and I wanted to play it for you because I want to really hone in on what exactly is the Democrats' opposition to enforcing final deportation orders. What's the reason to oppose this? It is like opposing somebody finally going to jail after they've been through, having gone through grand jury, they're getting a charge, going to a jury trial, being found guilty, appealing their case all the way as high to the highest court they can get it to, getting a final order from the system. Yes, you actually are guilty of bank robbery or whatever, and so now you have to go to jail, and they're acting like it is a racist step for the person to finally be picked up and placed in jail, or in this case, someone who has exhausted all of their remedies in our deportation or immigration system. They have a final deportation order, and he's trying to tell America, this guy, Andrew Gillum, if you didn't recognize his name, he was one of the Democrat candidates, the Democrat candidate for Florida's governor last time. Huge, very close ties with the very radical left, very socialist left, endorsed by socialists all over this country, by the whatever they're called, the Democrat Socialists of America. He tried to, dance around and pretend, and that's not really me. He's a radical leftist, and he's trying to tell America that the reason Trump is engaging in actual removal of people with no legal right to be here is because he's trying to scare people, to terrorize people who, by the way, got a deportation order and decided to hide out in America instead of leave. And he's also trying to incite people of color to believe that the only reason the president possibly has to begin the actual deportation process is because he's trying to stir up the GOP base against people of color. It is an outrageous, unjustified, obnoxious accusation. Just could not be more low, just beneath the dignity, doesn't even belong in the American political conversation. But this is how low the Democrats will go. This is how low. To claim that if you actually impose deportation orders and then remove people, that you must be a villainous racist with intentions to stir up racial hatred in this country. And keep in mind, this is the same party, to be really clear, the party that won't fund the wall, that complains about the existence of any detention center, that makes up lie after lie after lie after lie about the detention centers, even when they're confronted with the truth, when pictures are out, when the Hispanic Sheriff's Association tours the detention facilities and say these things aren't true, when all sorts of public figures tour the facilities. They keep telling America the Democrats are making this stuff up, and they keep it up. The American left has no interest in having a clear line between citizenship and non-citizenship. They have no interest in getting to the point where we actually have our immigration system back under control, that everyone in this country is either a citizen or has some legal right to be here. This is why I say it's a very dangerous time. They do not care about the concept of citizenship. They do not care about the idea that we have laws in place, that these people got their process, got their due process, went through the system, and they're just basically saying anyone who is here ought to get to stay, and anyone who tries to make them leave because they have no legal right to be here must be a villainous racist. And the other two interesting last points on this with how the Democrats are dealing with the whole deportation process. One is the restaurants around America have been, all these restaurant associations, the California Restaurant Association, the Illinois, a bunch of other ones, sending out notices to their restaurants to in turn have the restaurants asking the restaurants to tell their employees, by the way, yeah, these ICE raids are coming. They're going to do deportation, and telling again these people, here's how to hide, here's how to avoid it, here's what you can do if you don't really want, if they knock on your door, you don't have to let them in. This is a very concerted effort, and it really shines a light on how serious and consequential this actual effort to clean up our immigration system, to figure out again in America who has legal right to be here and who's living here with no legal right to be here. Actual restaurant associations, business owners are so used to employing illegal aliens, probably not paying them sufficiently, but legally, but employing illegal aliens, that their reaction to, oh, the government's going to actually enforce immigration law, is to quick try to warn all of their restaurants around the country to give a warning and turn to their employees, here's how to hide out, here's how to avoid it. It is going to be a very big adjustment to the immigration system in our country, to our employment structure, to have America again get back on track with just having a basic lawful sense of who is entitled to be here or not. One last point on this. ICE's reaction, one of the things they did recently, I think it was actually about 3 or 4 weeks ago, ICE put out a list, a detailed, descriptive list of the kinds of crimes committed by illegal aliens who were in the custody of some law enforcement entity in sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, but because the sanctuary city, sanctuary state, the police, the sheriff's department did not cooperate with ICE, did not turn the people over to ICE, the people were released back into the community, and they put out a list, name, date, and then crimes committed by these people who could have been turned over to the custody of ICE, deported from our country. Instead, these do-good left-wing jurisdictions in this country protected the illegal aliens, and they went out indeed, and the list of crimes are so heinous and so despicable and so disgusting. I was going to run through a list of them, but actually I'll just summarize by saying we're talking about dismemberment murders. We're talking about multiple murders. We're talking about serious, repeated sexual assaults and rape committed by people who could have been turned over to ICE by sheriff's departments, by police departments, if we only lived in a country where we all could agree that the law matters. But apparently we don't. The American left has become just embedded with the idea that just emboldened by the idea that having any immigration laws at all are somehow unfair.